I'm very pleased to be interviewing Josh Rosenzweig, who's Senior VP, Original Programming and Development for Here. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you.
So let's start with your background. How did you get to where you are today?
I was a filmmaker and a director and an editor, and I was living in California, and then I moved here in the mid 90s. And I decided I no longer wanted to be a bohemian sort of filmmaker. I had done the festival circuit for a number of years, and really decided I wanted to sort of jump to the sort of corporate side. And I started working for I worked for Harvey Keitel for a while for his production company in development, and then I worked for a PR marketing firm and worked with Showtime and on launching some of their shows. And then that was supposed to be short term, and then I ended up getting Here TV as a client at the PR marketing firm right after it launched. And a year after I was sort of their outside consulting PR marketing person, they hired me full time.
And how long have you been with Here Media?
Well, I have worked with Paul Kolishman in Here Media for 9 years, and I've worked for him for 8.
So let's talk about Here Media. It's in many different areas. It's in print, it's in television, it's subscription, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about the company.
Well, Here TV used to be a standalone premium cable television network, and then about 4.5 years ago, we merged with another company and acquired some print properties and digital properties, primarily the Advocate print and digital versions, Out magazine and their digital iteration. We also have a women's site called She Wired, a men's social networking and dating site called Gay.com, and a quarterly publication called HIV Plus, which is a print publication. And then, of course, I work primarily for the television division, which is still called Here TV.
And where can Here TV be found? Is it a subscription service?
Here TV is a premium cable television network akin to like a Showtime or HBO or Cinemax, and it's on every major cable provider. So you would have to subscribe like you would to HBO or Showtime, and then you just get it like you would any other channel.
Do you have a linear and a VOD service? How does that work?
In some markets, it mirrors the HBO model exactly. So you have a linear service, meaning you've got a 24-hour, 7-day week scheduled programming channel that has a bolted on-demand channel as well. So you've got your regular television, and then you've got your on-demand system. So we have that option, and then in some markets we just have the what they call subscription video on demand. So it's not what they would say a transactional. You can't order one movie at a time, but you order the whole package, which is the same as what would be on the linear channel, except it's just a on-demand system.
What is Here Media's mission?
Well, I think overall Here Media, and I can't really speak entirely for the other brands, just sort of in a general way, because I really do only work for the television division. But I think overall it is to provide a space for LGBT audiences, consumers, writers, producers, directors. So we're looking constantly for new writers and producers and directors and filmmakers, as well as like editorial people. So it provides a workplace for LGBT people, as well as a place to create content on all these different levels, the digital platform, the print, broadcast, for an LGBT audience.
How do you decide on what type of programming you want to see on the network?
Well, that's a really good question, and some people are like, how did we figure that out? Paul Kolishman, who's our CEO, has been creating content, movies, television for a number of years, and hundreds of movies and television shows. And he and I work very closely together. We sort of look at, again, the sort of diversity within our audience, and try and plan a very wide range of shows and content. So we look at it on a very broad base. So there's politics and talk on one end, and then there's like comedy, music, variety, drag on the other, and then sort of fill in everything in between.
How much original programming do you have, and how much acquired programming is there?
We are increasing our original programming hours every year. This year, our goal is to do between 65 and 70 hours of original programming that is basically produced in-house, developed in-house. So it is really indicative of what the Here TV voice is. And we, so I would say that's probably well in the almost 2/3 of what we will be showing on the network this year, and then the rest of it is acquired films and things that we also have in our sort of extensive LGBT film library.
So what is your strategy in programming? Is it to syndicate? Is it to own? Is it to borrow?
I think we're really looking to create and acquire material that we own, especially as we start looking, as I said, globally, with some new distribution partners that will get us out of the domestic distribution into the global distribution, into global markets. It's really important for us to have and retain the rights to our programming, so we don't have any issues and we can just show it where we want and when we want and how we want.
I know this is a general question, but what are the global markets like for this type of programming and for this audience? Does
Well,
it vary by nation? Probably, but
it does. One of the great things, having all of these brands under one roof, Out, Advocate, Gay.com, Here TV, She Wired, we have a really good way to sort of gauge the engagement of people outside the United States. And sometimes it's very surprising, like where the audience actually is. So we look at those numbers and we think, hey, can we go into those markets, and how do we go into those markets? I mean, and again, the markets are as diverse as the United Kingdom to Saudi Arabia. I mean, places that you wouldn't necessarily think, but we do get, sort of traffic and audience and response and engagement from some very unusual places.